when we look back at the year it was, we see a historically low amount of sales occurred across the Toronto and GTA real estate market. But why is that the case? Because this year we have seen a lot of ups and downs when the market was hot, when the market started to decline, and currently right now where the market is at a status quo. And what does it say about the Toronto and GTA real estate market in terms of its future prospects? But before we get into that, hello everyone. As always, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax Realtron Realty Inc. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Sam, a Toronto and GTA real estate agent actively working across the Toronto and GTA real estate market. On this channel, we like to discuss all things having to do with the Toronto real estate market stats, market trends, market reports, news items, buyer advice, seller advice, property tours of homes and condos that I've sold or purchased, area analysis, pre-construction previews, and so much more. So if you find any of this content enjoyable or informative, feel free to subscribe, to follow for more, or you can get in touch with me with regards to my contact information in the description box. If you have any further inquiries with regards to the Toronto and GTA real estate market, I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of my clients through this channel. But enough of that, let's get to the point of today's video. And the point is simply when we take a look at 2023 in its entirety as we approach the end of 2023. Once again, this video is being recorded December 20th. There's only a couple of days left of 2023. We see that 2023 was a very, very dire and anemic year for sales across the Toronto and GTA real estate market. Historically low, and by historically low, we mean the fact that we haven't seen this low of a year in terms of sales in almost 20 years. Now, so far in 2023, according to my numbers and the stats I keep on a monthly basis, we see that as of the most recent month we have in full, which is November, right? December hasn't ended yet. We'll get to that shortly. We see as of November 2023, there has been only 62,000 sales. Now, according to my numbers, I have this figure at 62,871 sales, and you see a breakdown of it on a monthly basis on the screen. This is obviously an ongoing sheet I have for all home numbers, not just sales. Of course, on this page, you see I always do the market reports and market stats. So these are some of the numbers I derive from the TREB resale market reports. And we see up to November, only 62,871 sales according to my figures. And it's quite sad when the highest amount of sales we had in any given month, in a single month, was not even above 10,000. That's right, the highest amount of sales occurred in May of 2023 when the market kind of peaked for 2023 at 9,012 sales. Now we'll break down these months individually or in segments and quarters a little bit more in depth, but to put things in wider perspective in terms of how this year has been so lower than any given year in the past 20 years almost. Let's take a look at this chart. And as we see, this chart has 2023 sales at 62,000, but according to their figures and their numbers, it's at 62,575. Nonetheless, whether it's my figure of 62,870 or so, or their figure of 62,575, we see clearly from this chart, this is the lowest amount of sales in any given year since at least 2002, and even has the potential to be as low as 2001 or even lower if sales do not exceed a certain amount for the remainder of December. Once again, it's December 19th. There's going to be a couple of transactions that eventually obviously happens from the 19th to the 31st. And in order for the 2023 figure to exceed and not fall short of the 2001 figure, which was around 67,000 sales, we would need about another 3,200 or so sales to occur in December. Now, obviously at the time of recording this video, it is December 20th, as I previously mentioned, and we're not fully through the month. However, I did do my best to go through the sales, go through the data to see how many sales there have been so far in December of 2023. And according to my research, keep in mind, this is a preliminary number. Sometimes sales are a lagging number by a factor of 2 to 3 days. Nonetheless, all that preface out of the way, according to my research, we have seen 2,100 sales in December, 19 full days. So there is a slim chance we do exceed the 2001 figure. Either way though, if we do by that slim margin exceed exceed the 2001 figure or if we do not. Either way, sales clearly have been the lowest they have been for a very long time, 2 decades. And before we go into why this has been the case and use that as an opportunity to break down sales by quarter or by months so far in 2023, we see that 2020 was a crazy year for sales. And I saw this on the ground as well, actively working. Transactions were happening. I mean, that is the crazy run-up we saw during the pandemic. Obviously, this is not the only metric to be indicative of that. We could look at other metrics, but it's just so reflective of what was happening at that time within the Toronto and GTA real estate market. And I saw it on the ground, and I'm clearly seeing it according to these numbers and other figures as well. I mean, contrasting it to 2023, in 2020, we had 120 plus thousand sales. That's crazy, right? That is almost nearly double of what we've had so far in 2023. Now, why is this the case? Why have sales been so miserably low in 2023? Well, the easy answer is that the market declined significantly and corrected in 2023. But that is the easy answer, and that's the incorrect answer. The accurate and actual answer that reflects reality is much more complicated and nuanced than that. And what do I mean when I say the truth is more complicated than that? Well, we're gonna explain in far more detail, but shortly put, sales in early 2023 were low due to low supply, yet despite high demand. That is what actually made the market kind of hot in 2023, early 2023, when the market was kind of having a resurgence. However, towards the end of 2023, it was the reverse of that. Sales were low due to low demand despite high supply. So let's start by segmenting the year that has been so far in 2023. Let's refer to my numbers again, if we will. To put things into perspective, the Bank of Canada started their rate hike policy in 2022, and the market immediately responded to that. We came off of the heels of the all-time hot market in February 2022 and March 2022. And towards April, May, and then the summer months, as the Bank of Canada started to message more rate hikes coming and started to actually hike rates, the market significantly cooled down. Market really cooled down after August. I mean, obviously June, July, May, things were already relatively cool compared to early 2022, but the market really truly bottomed towards the end of summer, fall 2022. In fact, to this day, when we look at market-wide, GTA-wide, prices have been the lowest they have been in October and November of 2022, not 2023. We have yet to have a single month in 2023. When we just take a look at that big headline number, the average sold price across all property types, across all areas, we've yet to have a single month in 2023 that has been lower than October and November of 2022 with accordance to that one metric. So naturally, when we started 2023, not only were we coming off the heels of the bottom of the market in the last 2 years, but we were also entering the new year. And New Year, January, seasonally speaking, is a very low month for listings and sales, right? Things start to only pick up middle of January towards the end of January, right? In terms of sales and listing. And in February and March, we clearly see things picked up because once again, seasonally, this is where the market picks up anyways in the spring market. But this was the first time around this time that the Bank of Canada announced that they're not hiking the rates and they're actually keeping it paused. That added more fuel to the fire, as I mentioned at the time, to the upcoming spring market that was. And was it a hot spring market? Now, was it as hot of a spring market or nearly as hot of a spring market as we saw in 2022? No, it still fell short of the all-time highs we experienced in 2022. However, March and April, particularly in 2023, were the peak months for the Toronto and GTA real estate market so far, and honestly will be the peak months for 2023. That's when the prices were the highest, that's when the competition was the highest, that's when properties were selling as fast as they could, that's when properties were selling as firm as they could. And I covered it at the time on this channel or on my other social media pages, and I was seeing it on the ground, working actively as a Toronto and GTA real estate agent. Back in March and April 2023, I was mainly doing the selling because that was the good time to go on market. And we managed to sell a lot of things for good prices that we would not be able to sell today. So what does this have to do with sales, you may ask? Well, we already established sales were low early in 2023 because coming off the heels of the 2022 market and also obviously January being a holiday month. But one of the reasons they remained low in March and April is because the market picked up, and partially the market picked up because of the low supply. So these amount of sales and raw numbers that we see in March and April, 6,000 sales and 7,000 sales respectively, although represent some of the highest single months so far in 2023, but overall in context represent low figures for a single month historically, relative to the amount of listings that were available at the time, were actually high amount of sales. So in other words put, one of the reasons the market was so hard in March and April was the fact that supply was so low, but demand was so high. As a result, these low number of sales were actually a high number of sales relative to the listings, but listings were low. As a result, naturally sales in the raw number will be low as well if you look at them devoid of looking at the overall listing figure. So very interestingly so, in this instance, particularly March and April, the low amount of sales were indicative of a hot market because listings were so low. It was actually quite impressive that we managed to even reach the 6,000 to 7,000 figure. But things start to shift the opposite direction as we ended the spring of 2023. As we approached the summer and fall months of 2023, the most immediate seasons, sales started to drop while inventory started to go up. So unlike early 2023, where the market conditions were the hottest, where sales were still low, but listings were low as well, the market started to shift and decline even further to the point where once again, it has appeared in retrospect to bottom in October, in similar fashion to 2022, when the market bottomed by most metric in October and in November. And in terms of purely the sales figure, well, sales truly bottomed in November of 2023. Putting aside the January figure, the November figure is the lowest single month figure for sales so far in 2023. So we can think of it like this. In summary, the most recent month, sales have been low due to low demand despite high supply. Whereas earlier in 2023, putting aside January, sales were low despite high demand due to low inventory, the converse of it. And in a quick fashion, that is how we have ended up with a year that is historically low, at least for the last 2 decades in terms of sales for the Toronto and GTA real estate market. Anyways, I hope all of that made sense. If it didn't make sense to you, feel free to ask me any follow-up questions in the comments or get in touch with me directly. As always, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate, Remax Realtron Realty Inc. Thank you very much for watching. Follow and subscribe for more, or get in touch with me with any Toronto and GTA real estate inquiries. Thank you, stay safe, and stay tuned.